Good morning to one and all. I, Abhijeet Korea, scientist from TCS Research, Kolkata, India. On behalf of my all co-authors, would like to present this work as a poster session for IEEE Census 2025. My work is titled as Photoacoustic Sensing in Sustainable Mining for Predicting Coal Susceptibility Towards Spontaneous Combustion with paper ID 5491. Before going into the topic, the outlines of my discussion will be introduction, the reference or ground to data collection for post-spontaneous combustion, the photoacoustic, that is PA data acquisition from coal pellets and its data analysis and AI-based classification, conclusion and future work. To start with, the problem statement is to develop a real-time and in-situ benchtop photoacoustic sensing system which is integrated with efficient AI algorithms for early and in-situ prediction of coal susceptibility towards spontaneous combustion. The relevance in the present day for towards this problem is the coal, when it as soon as it is mined and brought out and stored in the stockyard, and it is shifted to different places, from one place to another place in order to use it in the ultimate, let us say, steel plant or thermal power plants. So the storage and transportation is extremely difficult due to this problem of spontaneous combustion. Spontaneous combustion of coal is the self-ignition of coal when it comes in contact with the oxygen. So as soon as it is mined, it comes into contact of oxygen, and based on the quality of coal or thermal properties of the coal, it used to ignite by itself. So this causes a huge economic loss for the mining industry and a big challenge because it is not only economic loss, it also creates a issue with the sustainability factor, that is environmental hazard due to emission of toxic greenhouse gases, as well as to the workers life safety. The coal in the stockyard is vulnerable to the weather conditions. As per the weather conditions or the direction of the wind it is flowing, the properties of the intrinsic properties of the coal changes, due to which the real-time monitoring is extremely important. In the state of the art, the techniques that are present are all the laboratory based methods. For example, the thermal testing methods of crossing point temperature or thermogravimetric analysis or differential scanning calorimetry. So these are time consuming and extremely laborious. So coal susceptibility can be predicted in three different timelines or regions, I will say. One is known as the incubation of the period of the coal, where the coal is mined and before it has actually started burning. The second comes as indication period, where actually it has started burning or there is a sufficient heat through which the fumes or the toxic gases have started emitting out, but it is not completely burnt. And the third period is known as the burning period, where actually completely it is burnt. So the challenge here is to predict its susceptibility in incubation period, because in indication period, gas sensing methods are applied, but gas sensing is can sense the indication only when the fumes are coming out, which means the burning is slightly started, after which it is extremely difficult to control the huge amount of coal present in the stockyard. Some chemical treatments are done, such as firefighting chemicals, or the water is being sprayed onto the entire region of the coal to prevent it from burning or heating further. But that is, the temporary solution, and it cannot sustain for a longer period of time. And at the same time, uh, it reduces or degrades the quality of the coal and its efficiency to burn when it is used in the field. Certain AI tools are used with the classical data obtained from the standard methods, as we discussed previously. But again, the data collection itself is widely time consuming. It takes days and days to get data from a single sample, and if it is vulnerable towards weather condition, then monitoring is not possible in this case. So these are the certain challenges that are being faced. And looking to that, the solution what we have proposed is to use photoacoustic sensing. This since this is a hybrid sensing modality that uses laser and acoustic, so it is a established technique to identify thermal properties, but so far we have not seen anything published towards coal and all. So we are attempting with this study to prepare coal pellets from the raw coal collected from different mining mineries, and to use it in the photoacoustic sensing setup, where it can be the laser can be used to extract the sample and correct some acoustic signal, which can infer about the thermal properties through feature extraction. And ultimately, the AI-based algorithm can tell us the classification of coal in three classes. We are right now assuming, that is less susceptible, moderately susceptible, or highest or most susceptible towards spontaneous combustion. In order to proceed further and to the prove our sensing method, we need to have some reference data in our hand. So for that, the ground truth collection, we have used the standard conventional method as thermogravimetric analysis (TGA) with the coal. And here you can see we have identified in the left side graph. It is shown the TG, that is the ignition temperature of the coal, where the coal actually starts igniting. So based on this temperature, basically we used to identify that how good is the thermal heat the coal can sustain. So the lesser the temperature, ignition temperature, the more it is susceptible towards spontaneous combustion, because more quickly it can catch the fire. So here you can see, based on the data collected from TGA and K-means clustering, we have classified the different coals into three classes, and then we have used the coal samples or prepared coal pads in our experimental setup. Before that, I would like to just brief you the principle of this photoacoustic sensing, in which the pulse or modulated laser is used to excite the sample. The sample absorbs the heat from the coal and it expands and contracts back, thereby releasing the gained energy in a non-radiative manner, that is acoustic wave. The sensor nearby captures this ultrasound sensor and sent through the data acquisition system to computer. So the physics principle that takes place is increase in temperature of the sample, increase in pressure, thermoelastic expansion and contraction, thereby releasing the acoustic wave, which is captured by the ultrasound sensor. So a typical ultrasound sense photoacoustic signal is the N-shaped signal that looks like this. For that, can be used for different processing, maybe as a spectrum as well. So here, this is our experimental setup where the pulse laser diode, which is a very miniature and compact size laser that is used with a very less power of maybe microjoules of energy. These pulses are sent to the core samples to which the ultrasound sensor is connected and pre-amplified at a 40 dB gain and used with the data acquisition system. In this data acquisition system is the analog discovery kit 2, which acts as a to give the trigger or synchronize the data excitation as well as the data acquisition through this method. Now we have used 110 pellets approximately from 12 different core samples collected from different geographies, and each pellet is excited at 5 to different locations to get the heterogeneity of the sample. And in total 200 data instances for each class, that is the total of 600 data instances we have collected, and the 80% of it that is used for the training the model and 20% for testing. So this is the typically on the right side you can see the photoacoustic signal for three core samples from three different classes. From this we have identified the physics-based feature known as the peak time. For example, if this is the peak, then the time corresponding to that peak as a feature which can predict the thermal properties. But since there is a huge noise with the signal, then it is very difficult to capture a single peak from this. So we have used these photoacoustic signals with the empirical mode decomposition algorithm. Due to a huge noise with the photoacoustic signal, we have used empirical mode decomposition with the PA signals, and the IMF3 is used as shown here in the figure, where we can clearly identify the peaks and the time that is the peak time corresponding to them. The theory or the literature suggests that the peak time, if the thickness of the pellet is same for all the pellets, which is 6 mm in our case, then the peak time is inversely proportional to the acoustic velocity. Also, the acoustic wave velocity is directly proportional to the thermal conductivity of the sample, which suggests that the heat dissipation from the coal sample, the more the thermal conductivity, which means the heat dissipation is more, and the lesser is the susceptibility towards spontaneous combustion. From figure here, we can identify that for sample 1, that is C1, the TP is very less, which means the acoustic velocity is highest, and acoustic velocity is highest means the thermal conductivity is highest, which means it is least susceptible towards spontaneous combustion, which actually correlates with the theory. So that's how by predicting the TP or acoustic wave velocity, we can predict actually the whether the sample is least or more or moderately susceptible towards spontaneous combustion. So once we have identified the entire feature set, then we have used empirical distribution to see whether there is the strong overlap or minor, but we identified that there is a minor overlap. The probability distribution function here we have used using kernel density estimation, and also we have plotted using the QQ plot and between the reference and the actual data, actual feature set. So we got almost a straight line which confirms that the feature what we have selected is correct to predict. Further, for training and testing, firstly, before going to the training, we have used k-fold validation, and we realized for different k-folds that approximately we are getting 85% of accuracy, which suggests that there is no overfitting involved. And the confusion matrix, then we have plotted using different algorithms for the classification, and the best performance we got is from ensemble tree. That's why we have used ensemble tree matrices for our classification, and the average classification for all three classes is found to be 81.9%. These are the different parameters for our confusion matrix. So coming to the conclusion, so this photoacoustic sensing with sophisticated AI is able to predict the susceptibility towards spontaneous combustion of coal with 81.9% accuracy so far. Definitely, as we use more distinct samples with exhibiting different thermal properties or from different geographies, then our data set can be more robust, and accuracy can increase many folds. So this we are working towards, and using this sensing method for such predicting thermal property, it can definitely save the time as well as the laborious efforts. At the same time, it can be used for continuous monitoring. I mean, the monitoring can be done very frequently and near to the stockyard itself. We need not to carry the sample altogether to the lab and to the regular practice what we do, but it is possible to then and there near the stockyard we can predict the susceptibility towards the spontaneous combustion of the coal, and mine management can take the necessary actions to prevent the coal and our climate as well as the safety of our mankind. So the table shows the comparison of the proposed solution with the different existing state of the art, where the different points are considered, and we realized from this that it can predict the spontaneous combustion susceptibility in its incubation period, as well as the response time is very fast. The complex system with the compact bus laser diodes can enable the shifting of the system to in the stockyards, as well as is very cost effective as compared to the other sensing modalities. So with this, I would like to thank you, and my email is there for any queries, any discussions. We'll be happy to take this forward. Thank you so much, IEEE Census 2025, for providing us this opportunity to share our work amongst all of you. Thank you so much again.